In Blackpink, not all members are treated the same. One gets endless love, and the other, non-stop hate. Let's start with Jennie Kim. She became a target of hate even before Blackpink existed. Back then, she was just a trainee locked away in YG's basement for 6 years. Then, in 2012, she quietly appeared in G-Dragon's music video. Just played the role of his love interest. But that was enough. How dare a male idol feature a female trainee like that? That one scene started years of hate, 4 years before her debut. And many believe YG never thought it through, that Jennie was set up from the beginning. On top of that, Jennie and G-Dragon had a long-running dating rumor. She featured in another one of his songs, and they even performed it together on Inkigayo. That was a big break for a trainee, but also a big risk. Because even in 2025, dating rumors can bring hate. So you can imagine the backlash she faced back in 2013. Then came the bullying scandal, and I say scandal, but there was never any proof. In September 2012, someone made an online post accusing Jennie of being racist toward other Asians while she was studying in New Zealand. They claimed she threw trash, juice, even balls at them. It honestly sounded more like a K-drama script than real life. YG took it seriously. Police tracked down the source, a man named Mr. Lee, who turned out to be a known YG hater trying to sabotage the upcoming group. Even Jennie's former classmates spoke up to defend her. But the controversy never fully went away. It kept resurfacing, again and again. In 2021, when school bullying accusations were everywhere, people started asking for Jennie to be reinvestigated. One controversial YouTube channel, the same one that exposed Kim Soo-hyun, claimed to have new evidence, but they ended up deleting their own video. And even now, in 2025, it hasn't stopped. A recent clip of Jennie asking her staff to tie her shoelaces a certain way went viral, and suddenly, she's being called rude, arrogant, even abusive. Netizens brought up the same scandal again in 2025. Was Jennie's bullying controversy ever really disproven? Netizens just kept adding more to the list, accusing her of underage drinking, being rude to Jisoo, and acting like a spoiled YG princess. And yes, Jennie was labeled as YG's princess after debut. A common belief is that she was pushed more than the others, especially in the early days. She had pre-debut features and was branded as the next it girl. Some even argue she had better outfits, more screen time, and in 2018, just 2 years after Blackpink debuted, she got the first solo. That solo debut? It started a hate train that lasted for years. People forget Jennie trained the longest among Blackpink, 6 years in that basement, with no guarantee she'd ever even debut. So she deserved to have first solo debut. It was as simple as that. But during her solo era, the hate hit at its peak. Even if she was just standing still, netizens would attack her for having a resting bitch. Every little expression became a reason to criticize. And then came the dating scandal. Dispatch dropped a full dating route between Jennie and Kai. Photos, locations, everything. Kai even posted picture Jennie took, which basically confirmed it. And that was it. How dare she? The backlash was loud, brutal, and non-stop. And then came the Lazy scandal, a label that stuck with Jennie and still follows her, even now. Even during the Born Pink tour, clips of her dancing started going viral. Some people said she was barely trying, that she looked tired, unbothered, even lazy. And when she performed at Coachella in 2025, the same comments came back.
Honestly, I don't think she really had the stamina to keep up with the performance. If I was Jennie, what I would do is that I would link up with Matthew Knowles, Beyonce's dad, and I'd get Matthew to put me on the treadmill with a microphone and get me singing while I run. And this is what Boa used to do as well. Boa, the K-pop legend. So when she was in her trainee days, she actually would run around her dance practice room with a microphone while singing live. And I think just Jennie needs to improve her stamina and ensure that she has breath control so she can actually fill up a whole hour set confidently. I will say though, like, am I crazy for saying like the last few songs that she picked it up? Like I found
I love Starlight was amazing.
Starlight was amazing. Like, she picked it up. She picked up the energy and she started to connect with the
March
audience.
This year, Jennie released her first full studio album. It became a breakout hit of the summer, loved by fans and praised by critics. But still, the Lazy allegations keep popping up online. And you know what else resurfaces every now and then? Jennie and V's dating rumors. Every time that happens, a certain group of people comes out of hibernation just to hate on her all over again. There are times when Jennie was wrong herself, like vaping indoors with staff and getting her makeup done. She later apologized. And it wouldn't be wrong to say Jennie has been a punching bag for years. No matter what she does, someone always finds a reason to hate her. And then we have Jisoo, often seen as the most loved member of Blackpink. Now, if you ask her solo stans, they'll tell you she's had her share of hate too, just like the others. And that's true, but it's also true that Jisoo is widely beloved. Why? Simply because she's the definition of a perfect idol. Very few artists can do it all. Sing, dance, act, model, and still fit the K-pop image so effortlessly, but Jisoo does. She was the second member revealed back in 2012, right after Jennie, and from the start, her visuals stood out. She didn't just meet the Korean beauty standard, she defined it. As time passed, she only got more stunning. At one point, people wanted her as the lead in True Beauty because she looked like she walked straight out of a webtoon. But I personally believe Jisoo was also a victim of her own beauty, especially in the early days. Older Blinks probably remember the comments like, in Blackpink, one can rap, one can sing, one can dance. What does the fourth one do? The answer? Visuals. That's it. For a while, Jisoo was boxed in, reduced to just her looks, but that limitation slowly turned into power. As time went on, fans didn't like how she was being overlooked. They saw the potential, the stage presence, her professionalism. The lack of recognition became frustrating, and that frustration turned into a movement. It created this quiet wave of support. Her stans were determined to make sure Jisoo wasn't overlooked anymore, that she was respected not just as the group's visual, but as an idol who could hold her own. And slowly, that support turned into something powerful. A kind of love that felt protective. Now that's an opinion. I listened to what others had to say about it and read what people wrote. Jisoo's solo stans aren't a very loud fandom, but some believe they're extremely protective of her, very defensive, and just very loyal. But honestly, isn't that what fandoms do? And in K-pop, fandoms rarely see things objectively. It's all about loyalty. Once they pick their favorite, they'll stand by them no matter what. It's a big part of why today, Jisoo is not just one of the most loved members of Blackpink, but also one of the most respected. And Jennie wasn't the only one who got big opportunities before debut. Jisoo had acting cameos, she appeared in The Producers, and landed high-end commercials, just like Jennie. But the reaction was completely different. While Jennie got hate, Jisoo was praised. Maybe it's her quiet, mysterious vibe. She moves in silence but builds strong support along the way. And when we talk about Jisoo, we have to mention her personality, that a big part of her appeal. Over the years, Jisoo's personality has definitely grown, but somehow, she still feels like the same Jisoo from 2016. Funny, quirky, and effortlessly charming. Who has a 4D personality? Jisoo does. She has this way of responding to questions, playing games, or doing the most random things. And suddenly the entire atmosphere just shifts. It gets lighter, more fun. It's something you can't really fake. She just has that effect on people. One thing Jisoo has been praised for recently is staying true to her roots and values. While some members are clearly moving toward building a global presence in music, Jisoo has remained closely connected to Blackpink's domestic fan base. She knows who her core audience is. She knows who she's making music for and how she wants to be seen. In many ways, she's stayed grounded, while others chase international recognition. And netizens don't miss that contrast. They often point out how different Jisoo is from the rest. But for her, it's a practical choice. Jisoo doesn't speak fluent English, so instead of forcing something that doesn't feel natural, she leans into what she knows. And that's exactly why it works. And honestly, that's a smart move. People were upset that she was the last member to get a solo debut, but she played it differently. She knew she wanted to pursue acting, and she chose Snowdrop as her first big step. That decision paid off. Now her next movie is already one of the most anticipated projects this year. And it's not just about visuals anymore. Jisoo is a lead vocalist. She can sing, she can dance, and she can act. You rarely hear people complaining about her lacking in any area. And let's not forget, she's been in the spotlight for years yet somehow. She stayed out of controversy. Search up Jisoo controversy, and most of what pops up isn't even about her. It's about her brother. That's rare in this industry. How can someone be in the media for this long, under this much pressure, and still have a clean record? It almost feels impossible. That's exactly why she fits so perfectly into the ideal idol image. She's not just a favorite among Blinks, she's often the favorite outside of Blackpink's fandom too. I've seen people say, I don't like Blackpink, but I like Jisoo. And that says a lot. Jisoo is still the most liked, the most accepted, and the most respected. So it's not wrong to say she's the most loved and the most protected member of Blackpink. Unlike Jisoo, Lisa has been getting a lot of hate, especially lately. Lisa is a phenomenal performer. That's not up for debate. Ever since Blackpink debuted, she's been recognized as the group's main dancer, and rightfully so. She's always received praise for her talent. But when people can't find anything to criticize you for, that's when racism and xenophobia come in. Lisa's Thai background made her a target in ways her Korean bandmates were not. As the only non-Korean in Blackpink, she's faced racist comments since the very beginning. When she was just 14, training in Korea, people criticized her for her Southeast Asian roots, for her accent, her tanner skin. Some even told her to leave Korea. Fast forward to now, and the hate hasn't gone away. It's gotten uglier. In 2019, after Blackpink's appearance at the Golden Disc Awards, Lisa received death threats and disgusting comments about her ethnicity. Fans had to report the situation to the Thai embassy themselves because YG didn't respond fast enough. On X, fans continue to point out how much of the hate she receives has a racial edge. And it's only gotten worse during her solo era. Lisa's global success seems to make her an easy target, as if being an outsider makes her success harder for some to accept. Her solo career, which started with Lisa in 2021 and continued with Alter Ego in 2025, has become a lightning rod for criticism, even when her work speaks for itself. You can easily find videos of people tearing down Lisa's music. And sure, music taste is subjective and criticism is normal. But with Lisa, it often goes way beyond that. It quickly turns hateful, brutal, personal. Some say her music is horrible, too trend-driven, with no depth or vulnerability. On platforms like Reddit, critics argue that her solo work lacks a clear identity, especially when compared to Rosé's or Jennie's, which they claim feel more authentic. A lot of that goes back to how YG handled her. They pigeonholed Lisa as the group's rapper, so now, anytime she tries to sing or experiment with different genres, people treat it like she's forcing something that isn't hers, like she's trying too hard to be someone she's not. Then there's the hype backlash. Lisa was the fan favorite for years, a killer dancer, solid rapper, and the group's all-around ace. But once she went solo, some people felt her music didn't live up to the expectations. They say she's all over the place musically, that her performances are strong, but don't always have the polish she had during her Blackpink era. And because she's the most followed Blackpink member on Instagram, that popularity becomes a reason to hate her. People start saying she's overrated, and from there, they nitpick everything. Her vocals, her stage presence, her fashion. Even her recent choices as an artist and public figure. When it comes to Alter Ego, yes, I listened to the full album. And no, I didn't love every single song on it. Some things could have been better. The concept of 5 alter egos sounded great in theory, but in execution, it didn't fully land. But does that mean it deserves to be bashed brutally across the internet? I don't think so. Then there's this narrative that Lisa is nothing without YG, a line you'll hear from some blinks and haters alike. They use it to discredit everything she's doing under her own label, Loud. It's like they can't handle the idea of her branching out. So they claim she's not trying hard enough, or say her skills don't measure up to what she delivered in the group. And what they really want is the old Lisa back, the Lisa who was tightly managed. The Lisa who didn't have room to explore or experiment for 7 years under YG. Under YG, dance was clearly her strength and she mastered it. But now post-YG, she's developing her music. Is she fully there yet? No. But she's on that journey, and that growth takes time. Her rebranding caught a lot of people off guard. And suddenly it became, new Lisa is cringe. Lisa's getting too bold. Her performance at Crazy Horse, her Hollywood connections, her move toward Western pop culture, these things triggered a wave of backlash. She started getting huge opportunities, and for some people, that felt like a threat. It was like her success was a stone in their eye. They couldn't ignore it, but they couldn't stand it either. And look, rebranding isn't new. Pop stars reinvent themselves all the time. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But the level of hate Lisa is getting, it's on another level. And don't even get me started on the misogyny. The comments about her rich boyfriend, as if that's the only reason she's landing deals. Like Lisa isn't the most followed K-pop idol in the world right now. Like she didn't earn any of this on her own. There are the constant lip-syncing accusations, the lack of appreciation for her good work, and way more attention on anything she doesn't do perfectly. The vulgar, hateful comments. All because she's a woman who dares to be bold. And now that she's growing more comfortable in that boldness, the hate keeps coming, but it's often empty, mindless, and repetitive. Yes, Lisa still has room to grow. She's stepping into a whole new world, trying to establish herself as a true artist in a global industry. But the level of hate she gets for things that don't even deserve hate, it's unfair. And here's the thing, when hate becomes constant, fans start to push back harder. They defend her fiercely, sometimes blindly. So even when someone does have a valid point, it gets drowned out. Because people are tired. They're done watching someone get torn down over and over again. And that's the reality Lisa lives in now. Loved so hard it becomes armor, and hated so much it stops making sense. Unlike Lisa, we have Rosé, and the contrast in how both of them are criticized is pretty clear. Like I said earlier, all four girls get some level of hate and criticism. Pretending they don't is just being delusional. But Rosé stands out because when people criticize her, it rarely turns into full-on hate. Most of the time, it stays in a space that feels respectful. It's more like feedback, not attacks. It's way less vicious, and that's my observation over the years. One of the biggest reasons Rosé avoids intense hate is her personality. She has this down-to-earth, girl-next-door vibe that feels incredibly relatable, especially to international fans. And after her solo debut, that emotional openness she poured into her music, that's what made people connect to her even more. It's simple. A breakup song is always going to hit harder than a flex song about money and fame. Because let's be real, most of us are heartbroken messes. We want music that reflects how we actually feel, and that's exactly what Rosé gives. I still remember how much I loved On the Ground when it dropped. The lyrics, the mood, you could see yourself in it. And suddenly, Rosé didn't feel like a distant celebrity. She felt like someone you knew. Her recent track APT with Bruno Mars did the same thing. It hit her core audience so hard, people are already calling it the next generation Baby Laurie. That emotional storytelling is her strength. Fans love that she talks about her struggles. It makes her feel real, not just another K-pop idol playing a role. And in Rosé's case, it doesn't come off as forced or fake. She leaned into what she was already known for, that emotional, introspective vibe. People say her music sounds like Taylor Swift or Olivia Rodrigo, and yeah, that comparison is fair. But instead of it being a reason to hate, for Rosé, it kind of works in her favor. Blinks are Blackpink's biggest strength, but sometimes, those same solo stan Blinks become their own members' worst haters. And if we look back, Rosé experienced less fandom rivalry compared to the others. She was always seen as the golden voice of the group. Yes, people recognized her talent early on. She was doing her work quietly, without being pushed as the face of Blackpink, unlike Lisa and Jennie, who were often hyped as the group's stars. And honestly, not being overly hyped in the beginning might have protected Rosé. It saved her from a lot of the constant, unwanted, and pointless hate that the others had to face. She has a less polarizing persona, has a more neutral or balanced public image, doesn't make bold public moves that provoke controversy or draw extreme reactions. Her rebranding was subtle, not loud or controversial. She didn't dramatically change her image or shock people. She simply leaned deeper into the emotional, artistic side she was already known for. And because of that, people accepted the change more easily. At the end of the day, all four Blackpink members have had very different experiences, even while being in the same group, had their own it factors. Jennie had star power and stage presence that drew people in, and criticism just as fast. Jisoo had the perfect idol image, calm, steady, and hard to hate. Lisa had unmatched performance skills and global appeal, but also faced the harshest backlash. And Rosé had emotional depth and relatability that made people connect with her on a personal level. They've all been praised, they've all been picked apart, but one thing is clear, they've all made an impact. Different journeys, different struggles, same group, and that's what makes Blackpink who they are. And hey, if you made it this far, thanks for watching. As a new content creator, I really survive on motivation. Waking up to no views, no comments, no likes? Yeah, it kinda sucks. So if you enjoyed the video even a little, you can also add to this conversation in the comment section below. Agree, disagree, that's totally fine. Just be respectful. The toxicity in K-pop is literally making people walk away from it. And if you're watching this, and YouTube's algorithm brought you here, there's a good chance you're a K-pop fan too. So let's keep the space healthy. And like or hit subscribe. I'm planning to make more content like this, especially around K-pop. Your support means a lot.